Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 15 of the build. Looks like we're going to be doing more work on the power system and on the base. So with that, let's see where we're at. We've got all that in. So we've now got another USB-C adapter, some male. I'm assuming that this one is going to be for powering additional units. Once you tie it on, this is supposed to fit in here. It is a very tight interference fit. There we go. Voila. That's looking good. And we also want the bolt to go through here with two 7mm nuts. Let's see how that's going to play out. There we go. Long way down. And we're getting there, getting there. And we'll tighten this one down. Like so. And then the second one will just bottom out on this one. There we go. Nice and tight. Spin down the partner. And it looks like, there we go. So there's a faster way of doing this, but I suspect there isn't. Still in all, just about there. Just give it a little tighten. And there we have it. All right. Looks like we're doing this a couple of more times. Put one in here. And so this does kind of look like it's going to be prepped for mounting other pieces. But we shall see. I tend to not to skip too far ahead on the instructions. Just maybe one or two, just to kind of get clarity as to what to expect. But going too far down the road just actually ends up being more confusing than helpful. But that's just me. All right. And then we'll just spin this partner down on it. There we go. Well, I think I'm going to change blade. This one's just a bit too fat for the size of these particular bolts and heads that we're putting in. So we can get a little bit more torque with the smaller one. Yeah, there we go. Bear with me for a second. We'll just tighten this guy up. There we go. Get the second one tight. There we go. All right. So now, one more time in here. going to be spinning. This nut down. Here we go. Seems to be working well. Thank you. Again, we'll I think this one's an even bigger one than that. So, back we go. I think it's a function of where they're actually supplying these parts from, because even though the bolts appear to be identical, it's just the way they're manufactured. Sometimes the cross isn't quite as sharp as the next one, so it makes the Phillips screwdriver tend to want to slip a little bit. Here we go. And with that, we'll just tighten this guy up. And now we are ready for the on-off switch. So with this, they want us to take the mounting bolt off, the decorative piece. Here's the mounting bolt. So there is a little rubber cap that covers the screws. So that does that. Bear with me. I'm just going to go grab some parts and I'll be right back. All right, we're back. We've got all the parts gathered. So looks like we are going to be mounting the on-off switch on this piece in this orientation. So we've got this, and it's going to go on like so, and like so. Now we're going to put a couple of bolts together. Okay. There's one. There's two. This little wrench has turned out to be an extremely handy little piece. However, so now we have our side piece ready for the switch. And so of course it goes in. Let me just see how this is going to go in. Just like this. We're just going this way. This seems correct. This does seem correct according to the diagram, so we can find Q1, which just happens to be a lock washer. So this guy goes on here like so. That will be followed by the actual nut that's going to hold this thing together. And again, this is metal on plastic. Be very careful not to cross thread. Again, that tends to end up not well. If you do, let's give it a little tighten. And there we have that tightened down. You can now put the beauty ring on. And we now have an on-off switch. Okay, so time to gather up a couple more parts and we'll be right back. And we're back. Looks like we're going to start on the wiring. So with that, we just go back these screws out. Basically, they're going to be the ones that will hold on to the wire that's been prepped for us already. So we just kind of make sure that we get it properly in the slot that it's asking for. Keep a little bit of tension on it. Drive down the set screw. Needs to be snug. And it looks like we've accomplished that one. I'm going to repeat the process for the other side. And again, you won't be able to see it on camera, but there's a tiny, tiny little spot where this wire has to actually fit into. Looks like we've got it. Again, we keep some forward pressure on it to make sure that it stays seated as we tighten down the set screw. That looks good, and I like to give it a little tug just to make sure we've got everything the way we need it to be. We have a little protective cap that goes on, keep the screws nice and neat and tidy, and you end up looking just like that. And with that, it looks like this piece. Okay, so this, again, it's a little bit hard to orient, but as you can see, there's this one hole, and that's the key for me, is to be able to orient this in the direction that it wants. So this one's got to come up like that. Everything's happy that way. We'll grab our base that we've already built. Put this in like so. We'll put our mounting screw in. Something like that. It's going to be all right. It's just, we have to put all the way down. Put this out for now. There we go. It does need to fit over the bottom. And then once you have that, it's an easy fit. But then we will tighten this one up because we did leave them loose, as you recall. So we had that wiggle room that we thought we needed. And so now we're beginning to see more and more structure. So if you bear with me, this next part looks quite interesting. So if you bear with me, I'm going to grab up a couple parts and we'll keep on going. So stand by.